Miss A, this is my YouTube video essay question answers. And so starting off with the first one, we have anatomy, which is the study of the structure of the body or structures in the body. The subdivisions of anatomy are gross anatomy and microscopic anatomy. Gross anatomy is are large visible structures of the body, while microscopic are the ones that you can't see, that you have to use a microscope to look at. The subdivisions of microscopic anatomy are regional and systemic. Regional are basically you're searching a certain region of the body or a certain area in all those organs that are in there, while systemic are the systems that relate to each other that you're going to study. And then we have physiology, which is the study of function. Homeostasis is the body's ability to maintain internal environments despite the change in the external environment. Anatomical position is basically where you're standing straight forward with your hands are like this, down to your side. Your feet are slightly apart. You have axial, which is the main axis of the body, which is your head, your neck, and your trunk. And then you have appendicular, which are basically your arms and your legs. Complementarity of structure and function are basically how structure and function play off of each other. So like structure of the body would be a certain way in order to carry out a certain function. And then you have hierarchy of structural organization, which is basically arrangements of structures in the body from like complex to least complex, which you could basically look at the atom compared to organism as a whole. You have functional characteristics of life, which is maintenance of boundaries, which keeps your internal environment separate from your external environment. You have movement, which is basically any movement that you do with your body, like any action, like if you wave at somebody or you're lifting something. Responsiveness is the body's ability to sense change and respond to it. Digestion is the breakdown of waste into usable molecules. And then you have metabolism, which is any chemical reaction that takes place in a cell. You have excretion, which is the removal of waste from the body, and reproduction, which is basically like anything. It's like producing life, I guess you could say. Survival needs are nutrients, which are chemical substances used for energy and cell building and maintenance in the body. You have oxygen, which helps with any oxidative reactions that occur in the body. You have water, which provides a liquid environment for chemical reactions, and a fluid base for excretion and secretion. Body temperature, which is always stay around 98.6. And so basically with body temperature, if it increases, your body temp increases, then reactions are increased too rapidly, which is bad. And then if it's decreased, it occurs too slowly, which is also bad. Atmospheric pressure is required for exchange of gas in the lungs. And next one, we have control mechanisms. With control mechanism, you have your control center, which basically it sets the point. It's like the center of the whole thing. It sets the point, and it also inputs what needs to happen to the effector. You have your receptor, which monitors the environments and sends. It basically sees if there's a change in the environment, and it tells the control center. The effector is the one that responds to the change and actually carries out the action that needs to be done. We have positive feedback and negative feedback. Negative feedback is basically as soon as a change happens, the body tries to hurry up and get back to homeostasis, while positive feedback is it goes in the same direction as the change in order to get back into homeostasis. And with positive feedback, your body's going back to homeostasis, but it's not going to be the same as it was before. So we have Superior, inferior, which superior is more above, inferior is more below. You have anterior and posterior, which anterior is more forward, while posterior is more towards the back of your body. Medial and lateral. Medial is more towards the middle, while lateral is farther away from the middle. You have proximal and distal, which if you're looking at certain points in the body, like where it's connected at, yeah, proximal would be if it's closer, say looking at this certain connection or joint in the body, your fingers are closer to that compared to if you were comparing your wrist to your elbow, which is farther away. So that would be considered distal, while this is proximal. Superficial and deep. Superficial is more towards the surface of your body, while deep is more internally in your body. And then we have body planes. So with body planes, we have sagittal, transverse, and frontal. With sagittal, it's any line going longitudinally down the body. And then like different subdivisions of sagittal, we have parasagittal and mid-sagittal. Parasagittal is anywhere but the middle, while mid-sagittal is directly down the midline of the body. Frontal is basically divides the body down the side, which divides it into a front and a back. Transverse is basically any line that cuts the body in, like horizontally. We have dorsal body cavities and ventral body cavities. Dorsal body cavities are located near the back, and with dorsal body cavities, it's divided into cranial and spinal, which holds the brain and the spinal cord. We have ventral body cavity, which is more near the front and it's larger. It holds the thoracic and abdominal pelvic. With thoracic, you can divide it into two things. We have the lateral pleural cavity and the medial mediastinum. The lateral pleural cavity holds lungs, while the medial mediastinum holds the heart and other thoracic organs, such as your trachea, esophagus, and other organs. We have the serous membrane, which is walls of the ventral body cavity and basically the outer surface of organs. And the structure is basically a thin, double-layered membrane. From the serous membrane, you can divide that into the parietal and visceral. Parietal it lines the thoracic wall in the pleural cavity, while visceral covers the lungs. And that is it.